But yeah,
I'm completely
that's part
impartial.
of it.
Going into the soccer culture of Atlanta, because I
Yes.
think one of the biggest points as we get into the end of this World Cup is, what is soccer going to be in Atlanta after we're done
Yes.
with this big, big event? Should people join a fan club?
Yes.
Yes? No? Why?
Yes. Well, people should join a fan club if they like soccer. You know, if they like soccer, yes, get involved in Atlanta. Atlanta is a great soccer city. I've lived here since 2000, and for all of those years, 2005, 2010, I kept telling my parents, how is it that MLS has expanded so much? How is it that the United States soccer culture is growing? Because the U.S. national team had some decent results in the World Cup, 2002 especially. And how is it that Atlanta doesn't have a soccer team? You know, we have a great stadium too, and we have a critical mass of people who love soccer, and so that will keep growing. We've shown the world that Atlanta is an extraordinary host city.
Some say we've been the best host city in the country.
You know, that's debatable, but I like our setup better. We have the train. You know, Dallas doesn't have public transport all the way to the stadium.
By the way, can we talk about how nice it was to get a Marta during the World Cup? All these people that never get a Marta during the World Cup, it was the best time of my life.
My friends and I had to get on the Marta train and start thinking of, we were in the world, really. Of course, in the world, really. Of course, it doesn't have the magic of San Siro or Bernabeu or Wembley.
The Azteca, which have been. But structurally, the innovation of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium brings the whole level of soccer to another atmosphere. No?
Extraordinary. So I would invite everybody in Atlanta. Join fan clubs for the Atlanta United. Join American Outlaws to support the U.S. national team if you sympathize with the U.S. And all Madridistas, please come see us at Hudson Grill Sandy Springs and join Peña Madridista Atlanta. Get involved and we'll all have a great time.
Mario, I know you got to go. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
This was awesome. And
we'll I will come join one of your guys' parties because I always have a great time.
That's right.
I always have a great time.
And
I really want to join.
We never run out of beer. So, yes, thank you all.
Bye, Mario. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So now I'm going to introduce another two guests. One is the head coach of Life University. He turned around the program. He changed the way we look at soccer in Georgia. And I'm glad he did. Everybody, a round of applause for Alex Palma. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex, for coming on. And the second one is the associate director of the Carmichael Sports Institute at UGA, Carlo Finley. Oh, here he is. I was looking over there in the distance, getting a little nostalgic.
For some bad teaching, right?
Oh, my God. That's great. Thank you guys so much for coming on. First of all, could you just give me a little bit your impression on this game, what to expect from both sides? What do you think, Carlo, are the biggest storylines? And Alex, where the game is going to be played?
I mean, to me, the thing is, both teams have struggled. Right? They've been through difficult moments. They've been down in knockout stage matches, and they've found ways to win. So there's a sense of both of them have this winning mentality, this ability to overcome adversity and struggles. And so that comes to a head here because one of them has to go home, right? And so the question is, which team prevails under difficult circumstances? And I think most people would say this feels like a bit of a toss-up. There's not one team that feels obviously way better than the other.
Yeah,
I think if you look already at the lineups, then coaches have made some adjustments. I think this game will be played in the midfield and on the wings. Argentina likes the pockets in between the lines. I think this is going to be what we saw yesterday with Spain as well, beating France, a transition game, and which team can capitalize on those pockets, either behind the line or in between the lines the most. I think that team has the most chance of winning this game, but it will be extremely tight. I could not tell you right now who would be the favorite to win this game.
And I'm glad you gave me this tactical analysis because since the World Cup started, I had to talk to all these people who try to get into the tactical understanding of soccer. They've never watched a soccer game their entire life. Maybe they went to the stadium once and they're there pontificating on what's right and what's wrong. You know who the real people are? The real people are the guys who are getting a cold beer out of their cooler at the bar. It's Yingling, of course. Those are the people I trust. If they and you have Yingling in front of you, so I trust you even more right now. It's not only your resume, it's the Yingling in front of you. It gives you credibility, and so I'm glad. But you talked about something very important in one of your pieces of writing that came out, and it was very discussed. You said that every successful country in soccer has a strong tactical identity. And what do you think is the tactical identity of Argentina, of England, and what is the U.S. missing? And this is also for you, Carlo, afterwards.
England has gone through quite a transformation, I would say, the last 20 years. The old kick and rush, which I grew up with, is no longer there. You might find that in
so romantic. Then.
Yeah, you find that in the lower English leagues, but in the Premier League, and the Premier League is the #1 league in the world at the moment, and probably will be for a while to go. I think if you look at the coaches, the academy directors in England, a lot of foreigners have made their entrance. Even their manager, their current manager, is not English. So they've always had very talented players, but they've gone to a more European continental style of play, which made them successful. That, in combination with their league being the best league in the world, has put them up there. The Argentinians, you can never, obviously they have the best player in the world, but you can never ever underestimate the passion they have for the game. It is almost like no other country on the planet.
Yeah, no, I saw a video yesterday night where they were throwing chairs and tables at each other. And you think, oh, they're probably doing it with the opposition. No, it's between them. It's just a casual daytime throwing stuff at each other.
If you've ever been to a Boca River game, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, the fans go nuts at it. So not only the fans, the players, they play on the edge. It is a very, they've always produced technical and tactical good players, but what the Argentinian player brings, which a lot of players are lacking, is the passion, the absolute desire to die and fight for the badge.
And you've been to a Boca Junior game.
I have.
What can you tell me about the Argentinian fan, the true Argentinian fan?
So, las hinchas, fans, they bring passion, singing, fandom, noise, everything you want. You can see them in underground Atlanta here. They've brought that here. And then I think the players bring this mix of being cunning, finding a way to win, both in the sense of in brilliance technically, but also sometimes in playing on the edge of the rules. And then from a more tactical perspective, it's the love of a number 10, right? And so if you think about that's Messi now, but in the past that was Maradona. You can think about players like Riquelme. Ultimately, players who can dictate the game through their movement and their ability to create chances with the ball. So that will be, the playing in between the lines and the finding the pockets of space. That's what Argentina is looking for in this match. And the question is whether ultimately Messi can find that space or whether that will be limited.
Part of your job, Carlo, is to help students understand what is a storyline.
Yes.
Now, as somebody who helps students, teaches to students, what do you think is the biggest storyline today coming into Argentina against England?
So the thing about the World Cup is because it happens once every 4 years, time is compressed, right? Things that happened 40 years ago aren't really 40 years ago. They're more like that was 10 World Cups ago. So that means we remember 1986 really well. We remember the hand of God. We remember the goal of the century. And so you cannot analyze this game without understanding that history. And then you can go back to 1966 when Antonio Ratin got sent off against England in London and understand that those wounds, those memories are still somewhat fresh. So to me, the first storyline is the fact that England and Argentina have played each other in multiple World Cups. You can go to 86, you can go to 98 when Beckham got sent off.
Was that fair?
After getting his...
Was that fair, Carlo?
I can't say. It's not up to me to say. But I think what's interesting is...
Did you see what he did?
You
see what he did? What a professional. What a professional.
You asked for a storyline. Diego Simeone's son, Giuliano Simeone, is playing in this match. That's a storyline. So if you think about a full circle moment, now the man who probably is seen as a villain in England his son is playing in this match against England,
Yeah.
right? To me, you can't make this stuff up. If you were scripting a fiction, it might not even have these characters, these protagonists. What a lovely sport, and to be able to witness it, it doesn't get any better than that for me.
Now, and I'm wondering from your perspective as a coach, because I also went to Mexico to report on the World Cup, and with Carlo, I went through a journalistic process and mindset to prepare for these occasions. Journalists write a lot of things. There's a lot of storylines. How much do you take the story? Does that matter at all? And what do you expect psychologically from this game, from some of these players between Argentina and England?
It absolutely, you use a coaching tactic trick, that it's us against coaching tactic trick, that it's us against the world, us against the storyline. I think the teams here, they will use that. I haven't heard a lot of negativity from the England camp towards Argentina and vice versa, but there are so many storylines in terms of the war that happened 30, 40 years ago. Everything has been brought into this as well. I think as a coach, you're trying to protect your team somewhat from some. The more experience you have, which Argentina which Argentina definitely has, the better the players are prepared, to cancel all the noise from the outside coming into it. Of course.
There was a little bit of tension, though, between Bellingham and Tuchel. What did you think about that from a coaching perspective? If one of your players goes in the media, in the press, and says something like that, oh, he doesn't know how it feels to play against Norway, to play against these players, and it did come across a little bit like, I don't respect this opinion of his. How would you go later on and talk to that player? What do you think happened behind the scenes, if anything? Do you even talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great one, because my women's rugby coach at Life University, he's from England. He's a huge England soccer fan, and I discussed this yesterday from a coaching perspective. His opinion was, I applaud Jude, his comment, that he was free, that he was open, he spoke his mind. I welcome that from my players. My approach would be, Jude said it. I don't like it that he said it, but it's something that I would much prefer internally discussing than discussing in front of the entire world, because journalists will run with this and can cause distraction, and this can become an item, between Tuchel and a star player. So we had different approaches on that. He welcomed it. I kind of wished that was kept internal.
Are you going to bring it up with a player or no?
I would bring it up internally, one-on-one, or maybe in a team meeting, what was said, and then discuss it that way. Because you mustn't forget that Kane, who was a lot older, had a different approach to that when he was confronted with that remark, with that question. But Kane is a lot older than Jude. So part of the job that we have as coaches is also guiding our players, not just through media training, but also like, when do you say what, and why is it smart or not so smart to make these kind of comments?
Look, for me, I was at that match, and the humidity was unbelievable. So to play 120 minutes, and for Bellingham watching him play, he ran everywhere. He was absolutely brilliant, both in scoring goals, but also in basically linking the midfield and the attack the entire time. And so you could understand in the 3 or 4 minutes after a match, when you're exhausted, someone asks you a question, you're still a little bit in the heat of the moment. And so it felt a little bit like he was it was like a fight or flight response. And he basically said, hey, I was out here suffering. We were out here suffering, and this is how it went. Did we play the most technically brilliant game of football ever? Probably not. But did we give everything we could?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think he gave everything he could.
And so
it looked like it.
Tuchel's perspective was, of course, you gave everything you could, but perhaps you made things more difficult because you didn't play from a technical perspective. Yeah. So I think they can both be right. My assumption is that in the 3 or 4 days in between these two games, they sat down and talked it out and realized that they're both on the same page, both with the same goals, but ultimately sometimes the heat of the moment produces these emotions that are really, really hot, and that then afterwards you calm down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the whole point of the World Cup, and we're going to cut very soon because the game is about to start, and I want nobody to lose any second of this game. But one last question for Carlo before we get into it. You guys brought, with your program at UGA, the Carmichael Sports Institute, you brought students all around the U.S., Mexico, and Canada to cover the game. What can you tell me about this program that allowed for young journalists to be born? How did it start? Where are you right now? What are future plans? Real quick.
Very quickly, we were lucky enough to partner with both the Associated Press and USA Today to cover this tournament and cover particularly the group stages and the beginning of the knockout stages. And at the end of the day, with 48 teams across 16 cities, there were so many stories to tell. And so our goal was to try to find those stories and tell those stories. And from my students' perspective, from talking to them, it was a life-changing experience to be able to report on these games, fully credentials, mixed zone, press conferences, post-game, everything you want from covering these games. And
I had one of the most sentimental moments of my life when I asked a question to Fabio Cannavaro, the captain of Italy of 2006, and you tell me, why are you wearing this? It's not because only I'm an Italian fan, it's because it was 50% off. So, you know.
I was emotional watching you interview Fabio Cannavaro because I thought you're connecting a legend and an icon from your country with a young reporter who's trying to tell the story of this team's, him leading Uzbekistan into its first ever World Cup. So the stories almost write themselves, and to see you be able to tell that story, I mean, it just made me emotional. I was just so proud of you, and I was so proud of students generally, my students who got to tell these stories of the World Cup, which is, and I'll leave it at this, it's the best sporting event in the entire world. There's nothing quite like it, and so I look forward to doing it again in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you guys very much. We'll get back at the end of the first half. Thank you very much for listening so far.